It's Jed, and we're here with one of our clients, Mr. Marlon Powell from ARTVIBEZ, and we're just going to have a little talk about his experience with us and basically what he's up to. How's everything going, sir?
It's great, man. It's great. Thanks for having me, bro.
No problem, no problem. All right, then. So basically, tell the viewers who you are, what you're about, what you actually do.
Yeah, man. So again, I'm Marlon Powell. I'm an art advocate, but my background is in filmmaking. I went to film school or the School of Communications at Howard University, and I just fell in love with film. I fell in love with the whole process of creating something from nothing and building and developing stories. And that love and passion, sent me in a lot of different directions. I've since gone into real estate and investing and all different types of things. Your journey will take you in different paths, but somehow, I've stayed rooted and connected to the art world and the art community. So about 8 years ago, one of my best friends introduced me to an artist who was close to him. And they actually came up to my house for a poker game. And during that poker game, we got to talking, and we got to, just sharing each other's passions and our dreams. And I discovered that this gentleman, who is Levi Robinson, is a visual artist, and he had been painting for years and never really, exposed his work for sale. Friends and family knew and saw his work, but in terms of like really jumping out there and starting his art practice as a business and exchanging his work for dollars, he hadn't really taken that leap. So we, myself and my close friend Rob Douglas, we encouraged him, a little bit. I'm sure it was already in him. It didn't require much nudging, but we nudged him a little bit. He jumped out there and started exposing his work in a small art fair. And from there, we kind of saw he sold a piece. And during that experience, we saw like, wow, we have something, and we initially started promoting his work and doing events to promote him. And also that inspired Rob to get back into painting, because Rob to start painting, because Rob always sketched, and he was a creator as well, very creative person. But Levi inspired him. And so we started doing events for them to get exposure. And we kind of wanted to carve our own lane. That's kind of been my mission since I've been 18, 19, really. It's like, we tried to get into, we didn't try hard, but we discovered early on going the traditional route, getting into galleries and all of that was super difficult. Meeting the criterias and everything were hard. So we were like, let's just take our destiny in our own hands. And we started doing our own pop-ups and exhibitions and events, and it just started growing from there.
Yeah, that's great, man. That is a lot, man. You actually do a lot. And now you said something along the lines where you actually advocate for the artists, local artists, not international artists. So do you actually dabble in the arts yourself?
I paint a little bit, but I more so paint for therapy. I enjoy it. It's a fun escape for me. I'm getting a little better. I'm getting better at it. And I've actually been encouraged to start creating for business, and to sell. But right now, my motivation and my inspiration is just more for me and my family. And I'll create some cool pieces that go with the decor in the house and everything that I would like to hang and see. But who knows? I never put any limitations on things. Maybe one day I'll start painting to sell.
You never know. Well, you got a customer here, because I wouldn't mind a limited edition from you. You know what I mean? I don't mind. Okay. I don't mind at all. All right, then. So tell me and the actual audience about ARTVIBEZ.
Vanguard. Yeah. So that's a podcast that me and my close friend Rob Douglas, who, we almost like, sandbox friends. We grew up since 14 rather, and kind of just went through. You always have that one person who you kind of join at the hip.
Yeah, man.
We share similar dreams and ambitions, and so we actually started we consider ourselves serial entrepreneurs and serial learners. You know, we're always looking to learn and just grasp and gain a hold of new ideas, thoughts, and information, because it's all about knowledge, right? You know, our people perish for lack of knowledge, so we're always trying to learn. And we started around 18, 19 down this entrepreneurial journey, but as we have been on this journey for so long, you know, we just feel like there's so much information that we can share. We've learned so much, you know, and we have a lot to say. But not only that, you know, being an art advocate and advocating for creatives, we wanted to create a platform where artists and creatives from anywhere from fashion design to visual art to musicians, because we have a network of all of these people. We wanted to have a platform for them to be able to come on, share their stories, share their knowledge, and we can grow together. We can build this tribe and grow together and learn from each other. It's all about, you know, I'm all about like cracking these codes and sharing them. You know, I never really understood or believed in people believed in the idea of gaining some knowledge and keeping it for myself, right? You know, I don't come from a lack mindset. I come from an abundance mindset. So the more knowledge I have, I want to share, you know. So we're creating this platform through this podcast. Vanguard is really about innovative thinkers, out of the box thinkers, you know, for creatives to come together to just share the codes, and we can grow and learn together. So we've just been, and it's not always like interviewing and meeting the most established or successful person or the most influential person, because we want to get to those influencers and we want to get to the, you know, those top tier individuals as well. But sometimes you can learn something from the person that's been grinding for 10 and 15 years and just been carving a little lane for themselves and making impact in their own little way. Sometimes, you know, we want to hear from those folks too. It's not all about hearing from the person who has, you know, the 7-8 figure success and the hundreds or millions of followers. It might be that person with 2,000-3,000 followers who have been, you know, successful in their own right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's that explains a lot. It's like when you actually have a look at the Kanye West documentary and his journey when he began. It's like so many people, some of them turned their back on him to a certain degree, but he just kept grinding and he surpassed all of them. So I agree with what you're saying when, in other words, don't look down on anybody when it comes to views or anything like that, because that's not real anyway. Just take them for who they are. You can learn off everybody. Now, you mentioned an important word, and I think there's an underlining a lot behind this word when it comes to the artwork: criteria. Now, when it comes to the criteria for especially us people of color, where do you think people of color fit into that artwork? I know that integration isn't always the key, but where do we fit into that artwork? Because I could reel off a lot of famous, quote unquote, Caucasian artists, designers, painters in the creative field, but when it comes to us, it's a handful. So explain to the viewers and myself as well about the criteria in the art world.
Yeah, it's, you know, it depends on the gallery, you know, and the platform that you're trying to exhibit in. But typically it could be anywhere from experience, right? Years of experience, your art style or discipline, if you have work that have prints, or they're just original pieces that there are no prints that exist. You know, there hasn't been any reproduction of the work. So it's a number of things. But as you know, a lot of, Black and brown artists, their discipline may be, or their style of art may be unique in a way that it doesn't fit the criteria of that gallery. The whatever that may be, or I work with a lot of emerging artists, so they may not have the years, they may not have what you would consider the resume, you know, of exhibiting in places that qualify them as being an artist that can fit into these galleries.
Okay.
So if you're just starting out, if you've been painting for a year or two and you've never exhibited anywhere and you don't have any history of any real sales, and the type of art that you create doesn't fit, you know, that establishment or that gallery, you know, what lane do you fall in?
This is what I mean, yeah.
So, you know, you have to carve, you know, many times you have to carve your own lane. In addition to the criteria, it's a small, in many instances, it's a small network, you know, and if you don't know how to break through to that network, or you don't know the right people that can get you into these doors, you know, you're going to be left out, you know. So my thing is, you know, instead of trying to fit into a small environment, you know, create your own lane and create your own experiences and your own opportunities, because the market is huge.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
So you can create your own, you know, business and your own business model and find your own clients, and, you know, but it's all based on your own individual objectives and goals. You know, it's not a one size, I always say it's not a one size fit all.
Yeah.
Because many artists who, their dream is to be in a gallery, you know, or a museum, you know, they want to become fine artists, you know, in the true sense of it.
Yeah.
And so if your goal is to, you know, be represented by a gallery or to be in a museum one day, pursue that dream and go through the, you know, make a way, you know. But if you just, you know, if you want to be a profitable artist and you want to be innovative about how you go about it and you want to take a different approach, I say figure it out on your own, you know. Yeah. Carve your own lane. It's like in filmmaking, right? You know, we used to learn early on in my career, there was a lot of screenwriters and filmmakers that were trying to make it in Hollywood. And it's a small percentage of people who make it, as I'm sure everyone knows.
Yeah.
So the thing was, you know, create your own film, you know, do your own independent film and go that route, you know. And now more than ever before with technology, I mean, for goodness sake, people are shooting their own films with iPhones, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So the independent film lane is so much larger, and it's so much more profitable now because you have so many other outlets now too, with these social media platforms, to monetize your films and your independent work. Mm-hmm. So if they're not gonna, you know, see your talent or open the door, create your own door.
Yeah, create your own. That's definitely true, man. Okay, you know, now that the independent industry for everything is on an all-time high, do you think there's a bit of black bourgeoisie in some of these industries? I personally, I've basically experienced some of the quote-unquote black bourgeoisie, but I don't mind because I've got my own journey anyway. Coming from your background, would you say that there is a kind of an epidemic of black bourgeoisie?
I'm not sure I've experienced that in a way that you're probably, I don't know, you have to break that down for me. I mean, are you referring to like gatekeepers of
basically
culture,
gatekeepers
of the culture?
Yeah, gatekeepers of the culture, because obviously you was explaining about the criteria when it comes to actually entering some of these art galleries. So just supposing I was an artist that had my own style, my own way of doing things. I just wanted to be a part of a group just to showcase an art piece. Now, art is about self-expression. That's how I see it. It's about self-expression. But there's criteria everywhere, I suppose, because if the owner of the art gallery or the show sees your work and doesn't think it's up to par, are they going to give you that chance? But then if the world takes to it, all of a sudden they give you that chance. Now, is it because of a viral moment, or is it because of personal? You know what I mean? So this is what I mean when I say black bourgeoisie, because I see it everywhere, and everyone's got their preferences, but I would like you to expand on that if you can.
Yeah, I haven't had too many encounters with that, but what I will say from a creative perspective or in art community, art world perspective, I'm sure they exist, but they exist, I believe, in every industry.
Yeah,
You can't,
definitely.
and you can't really depend or rely on those individuals or those gatekeepers, if you will,
Yeah.
for your opportunity. You have to still keep pressing forward. And what I say is, I mean, it's kind of cliche. It's been said a lot now, but you just have to get hot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You can't rely on someone to really like put you on,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's super competitive now. You know, the internet and social media has made things way more hyper competitive. There's so many options for people to choose from things.
Yeah.
So you just have to really, you can't, there's really no shortcuts.
Yeah, you can't cheat the
You
grind.
know, you got to go through the journey. You really got to go through the journey, and in the full sense of it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to go through the rejections.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think it's all designed to point you back to the most important question you have to ask yourself in life, really, not even just in your business, but in life, is what's your why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You have to
definitely.
And I think the rejection and going up against the bourgeoisie and the gatekeepers, they help you define your why. And your why is tied to your purpose. And once you know your purpose, which I believe is serving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that you do, you should be serving someone in some form of fashion.
Yeah, definitely.
And specifically, mine is tied to serving the creative community. But your why should be tied to your purpose, and your purpose should be centered around some type of service of people, and whether it's creating a product, creating a service, creating an idea that serves people, and that's when you feel fulfilled. And so during those fulfilled moments, whether you're facing rejection or people are not accepting you or those doors are being closed, you're still okay with it because you're in your purpose.
You're in your purpose. Yeah, like
right?
I said, sorry to cut you. Like I was saying, when it comes to me, certain things like that, they really don't bother me because I've got my purpose and I've got my journey anyway. So it's a thing where it's like, it can be disheartening for certain people, but that can also show you, are you really ready for the industry that you say you want to be in?
Absolutely.
Because you will get a lot of that. So it's up to you to have your morals intact. Try not to be so emotional. No, sometimes it's only business. Whoever you got a relationship with, keep that relationship solid, but stick to your purpose, like you said. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So all right, then let's go to some other questions that basically deals with you,
sure,
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
What's your favorite art movement?
My favorite art movement.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I answer that, I just wanted to, I failed to, big you up in the beginning. I wanted to also thank you for, this is the first time anyone has ever asked me to be an interviewee or to be on their show.
There's plenty more to come because you're doing a lot, bro. You're doing a lot. You're being a bit modest, man. You're doing a lot at the moment.
I appreciate it, bro. Me. Yeah, hopefully more to come. I have a lot in me that I would love to share, but I think, to answer your question, my favorite art movement is the graffiti writing art movement of the late 70s, early 80s. I just, as I've watched many films, and for many folks, their love for hip hop was born out of that movement in that era, graffiti writing. And that was a period in the time I lived through it. I'm old enough to have lived through it, but also looking back on the films like Star Wars and the breaking movies and stuff like that, Beat Street, just all of that. It was just a very inspiring, creative time where, and I also find it unique because I like seeing movements that are labeled in a certain way, but over time, those labels and those perspectives change,